I sat at the long oak table in my in-laws' sprawling Virginia mansion, the polished wood gleaming under the soft glow of an ornate chandelier. The air was thick with tension, a familiar undercurrent that had shadowed every family gathering I'd endured over the years. Before me stretched an extravagant Thanksgiving spread: golden roasted turkey, mound of mashed potatoes swirled with butter, cranberry sauce glistened like rubies, and pies stacked high with whipped cream. It was a feast fit for royalty, yet it did little to mask the ancient grudges simmering beneath the surface. My in-laws, Clarissa's parents, her smirking brother, and her icy sister, sat around me, their eyes darting with unspoken accusations. I shifted in my seat, the weight of their disdain pressing against my chest like a stone. Clarissa, my wife of 12 years, sat beside me, her fingers nervously twisting the stem of her wine glass. She'd been fidgety all evening, her usual poise replaced by a restless energy that set my nerves on edge. I knew something was coming. Something big. She cleared her throat, the sound sharp against the clink of silverware and the low hum of forced small talk. "Everyone," she said, her voice trembling slightly as she stood, "I have an announcement to make." The room fell silent, all eyes turning to her. My stomach tightened. I could feel the expectation in her gaze as it flickered toward me, as if she were waiting for me to explode, to give her the dramatic reaction she seemed to crave. But I didn't move. Not yet. Instead, I reached into the leather satchel I brought with me, a move that earned a few raised eyebrows, and pulled out a thick manila folder. Its edges were worn, the surface scuffed from years of handling. Inside, it was a decade's worth of documented lies, betrayals, and grievances. Every snide remark, every backhanded slight. Every time they treated me like dirt beneath their polished shoes. I'd spent years compiling it. Late nights hunched over a desk with a pen in hand. Fueled by a quiet fury I'd buried deep. This folder wasn't just paper and ink. It was a weapon, a reckoning. And tonight, it would change everything. I slid across the table, the scrape of it against the wood cutting through the silence. Clarissa's father, a barrel-chested man with a perpetual sneer, let out a barking laugh. "What's this, boy?" "Your little diary." Her brother joined in, his smug grin stretching wide, and her sister smirked into her wine glass. They thought it was a joke, another chance to mock the outsider who'd never quite fit into their gilded world. But their laughter died as I flipped the folder open, revealing the first page, a meticulously dated log of the time her father had accidentally spilled bourbon on my suit at Christmas 5 years ago, then laughed as he called me a clumsy fool in front of everyone. Page after page followed. Emails, transcribed conversations. Even a grainy photo of her brother slipping a 20 to a waiter to accidentally spill soup on me at a restaurant. Their faces paled, the smugness draining away as shock and anxiety crept in. For the first time in years, I felt a surge of control, a wild, exhilarating freedom pulsing through me. I stood, my chair scraping back, and looked down at them. "I'm done," I said, my voice steady, cutting through their stunned silence. "Done with the games, the lies, the way you've treated me like some servant to be tolerated." Clarissa's mother gasped, clutching her pearls, while her father's face reddened, his mouth opening and closing like a fish out of water. Her brother tried to scoff, but it came out weak, hollow. They weren't laughing anymore. Clarissa's eyes widened, her confidence crumbling as she stared at the folder. She'd been part of it too. Her name appeared in those pages more times than I could count. The late-night calls to her sister plotting how to manage me. The time she dismissed my complaints as paranoia. The way she stood by while her family chipped away at my dignity. Now, faced with the evidence, her hands trembled, her vulnerability laid bare. "You don't understand," she stammered, but I cut her off with a shake of my head. I didn't need her excuses anymore. The room erupted into chaos. Her father shouting about disrespect, her mother wailing about ruined holidays, her brother slamming his fist on the table. But I stayed calm, my pulse steady, a strange peace settling over me. Every secret spilling from that folder was a brick pulled from the wall they'd built around me, exposing the truth of how they'd treated me all these years. And with each revelation, I grew stronger, taller, while they shrank before me, their panic rising like a tide they couldn't control. I no longer cared about acceptance. about fitting into their twisted little dynasty. I'd spent too long bending, bowing, swallowing their venom to keep the peace. But not anymore. The power had shifted and they felt it. The way their voices faltered, the way their eyes darted to me, then away, as if I had become something they couldn't predict. As I stepped back on the table, the Thanksgiving spread sat untouched, the once proud symbol of family unity now a battlefield strewn with the wreckage of their lies. I looked at Clarissa one last time, her face a mask of fear and regret, and felt nothing but relief. The weight of a decade lifted from my shoulders, replaced by a lightness I hadn't known in years. I turned and walked out of that mansion, leaving behind the manipulation, the deceit, and the family that had never deserved me. For the first time, I was free.